So dear students, today I am going to start a new course on the subject chemistry, and this is basically the course on organic chemistry, and today is the first lecture of organic chemistry. Basically this is the introduction lecture. So today I will going to discuss the branch of chemistry called organic chemistry, and in mathematical language you can say a subset of chemistry. Now what is actually we are going to read in this organic chemistry is basically the study of carbon compound, you can say. Organic chemistry is basically a chemistry which deals with carbon compounds mainly, but it does not mean that the carbon compounds means all the carbon compounds are organic compounds. It does not mean. There are some obviously compounds involving carbon, but the compounds are inorganic compounds. There may be actually there have some compounds like this, but in organic chemistry we are actually dealing with hydrocarbon basically and the derivatives of hydrocarbon, and you will know what this hydrocarbon or hydrocarbon derivative means as you go on further. The class is going on further, we will know all these things about. Okay, but at the very initial starting level of this course, I like to say that organic chemistry is chemistry which deals with carbon compounds. Okay, so this is actually the chemistry of carbon compound, and in mathematical language you can say that it is a subset of chemistry. But the main question is, or the main curiosity which arises in students' mind or any other mind, it should arise in our mind that why we need a branch of chemistry for a particular element of periodic table. We know there are almost 118 elements in the periodic table, but why we give such a huge importance to a particular element, say carbon, that we are going to study, or we have created, or we have analyzed a particular element or compounds of a particular element in a branch of chemistry. So why we need a branch of a subject to study a particular element in a periodic table among these 118 elements? This is the main curious questions, you can say, at the beginning of this organic chemistry or the beginners of the organic chemistry. So obviously there should some special valid reason for this, or you can say that the carbon atoms have definitely some special properties due to which we have to give this importance to this element. And the question is what these special properties are for which the carbon compound demands a branch of chemistry, that is organic chemistry. So let me write down the properties of carbon compound. Okay, and the very first one you can say, so let me write the properties of carbon compounds, properties of carbon atom, you can say carbon atom, due to which we are forced to made a branch of chemistry. Okay, and the very first one is, you can say that this carbon atom have small size. This carbon atom have small size. Not only this has moderately electronegativity, moderate, you can say moderate electronegativity. Okay, it has moderate electronegativity. Moderate electronegativity. Negativity. Okay, and that is why the covalent bond between two carbon atom, this covalent bond between two carbon atom is strong due to this moderate electronegativity at small size. The carbon-carbon bond, the single bond, carbon-carbon single bond, the sigma bond is strong enough and is stable. So this C bond is more stable than other atoms exist in periodic table. This is one reason. And the very second one is the most important property, that this carbon atom have a very special kind of property that is called catenation property. Okay, so this carbon atom have this catenation property. And what this catenation property actually means? This catenation property means that this carbon atom can form a long chain between the carbons itself. Okay, carbon itself, and not only this, it can also form bond the other elements like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and as well as the halogens. Okay, so it have the catenation property, and due to this catenation property, it can combine with another atom. It can combine with carbon atom as well as the another atom like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, halogen, other than you can say sulfur, phosphorus, etc. Okay, so it have this kind of property. But this is not the only element in the periodic table which have this kind of catenation property. There are other elements also like silicon or sulfur. They also have the catenation property, but the catenation property is not like carbon. Okay, because they are not so strong. Okay, the catenation property of the silicon or sulfur is not so strong, whereas the catenation property or the ability to form the chain with the carbon atoms as well as with the other atoms is so strong for carbon atoms other than this. So the carbon atom can easily form chain. Okay, so this is one of the valid reason for this carbon atom to study in a different branch of chemistry, that is the organic chemistry. And one of the reason you can say, another reason you can say is isomerism. Okay, isomerism. So what this isomerism actually means? Okay, this is also one of the most important property which is also responsible for forming large number of organic compound. Okay, or you can say large number of carbon compounds. So you have heard about this word, that is isomerism, and this isomerism actually means that there are some compounds. Okay, there are some compounds, you can say there are many compounds which have same molecular formula, but different properties. For example, you can say that C2H6O is a molecular formula, C2H6O, and we can write from this molecular formula two kinds of compounds which have different properties. One is like CH3OCH3, that is C2H6O, and another one is CH3CH2OH. Do you know that this is the ether compound, that is diethyl ether. This is This is the different family of organic compounds, because here the main functional group is different. Here is ether group and here is alcohol group. So this is the alcohol types of alcohols family, and this is actually ethyl alcohol and this is diethyl ether. So there are two different kind of compounds having the same molecular formula. So we can see that, so there are different types of molecules or different types of compounds we can form from the same molecular formula. So this is also one of the reason that there are more and more or large number of compounds exist in nature, or you can synthesized experimentally these kinds of compounds which involves carbon and hydrogen, that is hydrocarbon and its derivatives. So there are large number of organic compounds, or there are large number of compounds involving carbon atoms. That is why we need to study in a systematic way of this large number of compounds in a special branch of chemistry called organic chemistry. Okay. Now the big question is, why the name organic chemistry? This branch of chemistry, why this, if this is if all the compounds involving carbon and hydrogen, so why we give the name like this, organic compounds? Organ actually means, organ means it's involved with the living system. For example, mankind, or you can any plant. So these are actually the living things in our nature or in our world. So due to some historical reason, we can see that this name organic chemistry came. Actually, at the very beginning of the organic chemistry, it was believed that the organic compounds can form only in the living organism, either in human or animal or in planet. So as these compounds can only be synthesized or can only be formed in the human organism, so we will give this name, that organic chemistry, or the branch of chemistry, that is organic chemistry. But after that, we can see that the organic compounds can be synthesized artificially also. It is not necessary that the organic compounds will only form in the human body or any living organism. But still, we don't remove the name organic compounds or the organic chemistry or the name organic or the word organic. And one of the valid reason is that if you look into any biological system, then you can find, or any living organism, that you can find some interesting term or some interesting compounds like DNA, proteins, carbohydrate, lipids, etc. And these all are actually organic compounds, or the compounds involving carbon and hydrogen, organic compounds. So this is more involvement with the living organism, or the necessity of this living organism, or our necessary things in our daily life. Most of the necessary things is made of this carbon atom or this organic compounds. And that's why in that respect we can also term this branch of chemistry as organic chemistry, because at the initial level, at the starting of organic chemistry, the name was given only because of the fact that the organic compounds can formed only in the living organism. But after that, when we know that these types of compounds can be synthesized in lab also, but still we can't remove the term organic. This is actually due to the fact that the living organ needs these types of compounds in our daily life, as well as most of the compounds like DNA, proteins, carbohydrate, lipids or fats, etc., which are actually the most necessary organ, you can say, and some things is the, and some things are the synthesized, or some can be produced in the human body. More the compounds which involving carbon compounds are required for the living organism. So we give the name organic chemistry actually. Okay. Now, what I am telling from the very beginning of this lecture, that at the very initial level or at the starting level of this branch of chemistry, people believe that the organic compounds can only form within the living organism, and this is actually due to a particular theory called vital force theory. Okay, so in the end of the 18th century, you can say, that is in 1780, Berzelius proposed the vital force theory, proposed the vital force theory. Okay, and according to this theory, if you want to make an organic compound, you have to have a living system like a plant or an animal and so on. The reason for believing such a theory is that early on during the development of organic chemistry, the organic molecules are typically isolated from nature, which I just want to say from the beginning of this class, that in some historical regime or some historical theory, that is in 1780, Berzelius proposed this vital force theory, and people believe that the organic compounds can only form in the human body or others living organism. But in 1828, a Frederick scientist called Wohler did an experiment, and he was able to synthesize organic compounds in laboratory. And this is, you can say, a path-breaking experiment of chemistry. That is, the vital force theory proposed by Berzelius is now totally destroyed, and Frederick Wohler able to synthesize organic compounds in lab. What Wohler was did, he took an inorganic compound, that is ammonium chloride, and an inorganic salt, that is KCNO, potassium cyanide, and add them to form ammonium cyanide, that is NH4CN, ammonium cyanide. Now, if some heat is given to this compound, that is ammonium cyanide, then it will undergo a rearrangement reaction. Which will give an organic compound called urea. Okay, so this is the first lab synthesized organic compound. This is the first lab synthesized organic compound named urea. and here Wohler used to inorganic compound, okay, to form this NH4CnO, and when heat is given to this NH4CnO, it will undergo a rearrangement reaction and it will form organic compound and is first lab synthesized organic compounds, which is a pathbreaking experiment because a long time this vital force theory was believed. But after this experiment, this concept of organic chemistry is totally destroyed. And not only this, after this historical experiment, some other lab synthesized organic compounds also formed in the year 1845. Kolbe synthesized acetic acid, which is popularly known as vinegar, and this is the first time that acetic acid is synthesized in laboratory. And then in 1856, Berthelot also synthesized methane from aluminum carbide, that is Al4C3, by hydrolysis. Hydrolysis of aluminum carbide will give methane. Okay, so then there are various kinds of organic compounds are formed in laboratory, and there are many other compounds which is formed continuously in many living organisms. Okay, so today I will stop over here, and this is the introduction class of organic chemistry, and in the next class I like to discuss about the shape of organic molecules, the hybridization, and various kinds of effect like inductive effect, resonance, etc. I will discuss. Okay, thank you.